We are going to discuss about what are the barriers in fluency. Okay, first of all, let us begin with what is fluency. What according to you is fluency? Fluency is basically, generally, if you ask any layman, they will describe fluency as being able to speak a language very quickly, rapidly, without making any mistake, or that is number one. Number two, being able to speak a language with perfection and accuracy. But well, according to me, I think fluency is a combination of both the things. You should have a certain level of accuracy, but I think for a beginner, a student who is, or any person who is pursuing to learn a new language or a foreign language, accuracy should not be his first target. His first target should be just colloquialness in talking. He should be just able to talk first. Accuracy and perfection can be achieved later on. Even Oxford Dictionary gives one definition about fluency. It says that speaking or writing in an articulate and natural way using language which is colloquially spoken by the native speakers of that particular language. And I think this is what we all should target to achieve, because most of us, first of all, when we talk about fluency, the first thing comes to our mind is fluency in English language. But in this class, we will talk in terms of generally learning any new language, including English. The native speakers of English, which we generally observe on television or movies, okay, we are just mesmerized, or we are in awe of them because they speak a very quick gibberish tongue which we are not able to comprehend, and which we feel that they speak so in a wow manner, which we are not able to do that. And that is the major mental block that sets in our mind, that we are never able to speak like them, and therefore I may not be able to learn to speak as fluent as them. But this is where we step in. These are the barriers in fluency, and we are going to discuss how these barriers, what are these barriers in the first place, and how we are going to overcome them. So according to me, there are three major categories in which there are several barriers. Three major categories of barriers is vocabulary, lack of proper vocabulary in any new language. Second is pronunciation, and third is lack of confidence. Let us see each one of them in detail. First of all is the vocabulary. When we come across any new language, if it is within the country, then there may not be that much difficulty in understanding the context of the situation and guessing the meaning of the word. But if it is a cross-cultural language, let us say like Spanish or Italian or any foreign language, French for example, right? In that case, because of the cultural differences and because of entire change in the continent, the eating habits, the socio-economic structure, it becomes slightly difficult. So how to improve our vocabulary? If you ask this question to me, like I teach in so many undergraduate classes, when I ask them how to improve your vocabulary, the first thing they answer is to read dictionary. Dictionary is not something to be read, it has to be referred. So when I tell them how do you read a dictionary and how do you remember all the words, how many words can you retain in your memory, then they don't have any answers. So if you want to enrich your vocabulary in a new language, the best way is to drop the dictionary and go and talk and meet with the local people. Observe them, listen to them carefully, and try and talk with them no matter how many mistakes you make. Okay? There will be people laughing at you, there will be people making fun of you, but you must not allow those things to hamper your urge to learn a new language. So try and pick some words. See, begin with, there is something called communicative intent. Okay, if I want to say that I am hungry and I want to eat a pizza, okay, I don't have to look at the grammatical accuracy and the structural accuracy of the sentence. All have to convey them that I am hungry and I want to eat a pizza. That is called communicative intent. So if I am able to put across my communicative intent to people speaking a different language, then my work is done. My communication process is complete. Okay, but this is what generally people do not understand. They feel that if I want to talk a new language, it should be very accurate, it should be very perfect. So keep that mental block out of your mind and speak. No matter however mistakes, how many mistakes you make, that inhibition should be shed, and then only gradually you will get used to people laughing at you. They will be laughing at your back, not in your front, but they will be laughing definitely. So just ignore them. Begin with small sentences, small communicative intents like I'm hungry, or where do I go from here, or where is this place, or something related to where is hospital, or where is this XYZ restaurant, or something like that, which is a very routine work, which is a part of your day-to-day activity. Do not aim for very long and complex sentences. So as and when you achieve these smaller targets, the sooner you will gain confidence, and then I'm sure with repeated practices and rehearsals, you will eventually learn I will not say the language, but at least the dialect you can pick up. Okay, like a common example I can give you is of Gujarati is spoken in so many different dialects. It is spoken in Surti. Surti, the Gujarati from Surat is very different from Gujarati spoken in Baroda. Gujarati spoken in Saurashtra side is again very different. Okay, so even though it is a Gujarati language, same language, but we are not able to understand the dialect. So when we go to Saurashtra, the first few hours, I think we just try to comprehend what are their intonations and what are the stress and unstressed parts of their syllables. Okay, and then as soon as we are comfortable, okay, this is how they speak, then we immediately shift from Baroda Gujarati to Saurashtra Gujarati. Okay, same rule can be applied to any other foreign language also. Again, let me remind you, the process is little bit lengthy. It takes a lot of self-motivation. There will be a lot of people who will be ridiculing you, but if your motive and your intention is very strong, then I think nothing can stop you. Second category of barrier is pronunciation. How to improve your pronunciation. Pronunciation can be improved only by two ways. If you are a master in phonetics, then you can study each, transcript each word and syllable, and you can learn it. But that again is very time consuming and very boring also. The best way to learn pronunciation is to listen to the spoken native language. If you want to learn Italian, then you must speak to somebody authentically belonging to Italy, a local speaker of Italian language. If not him, then watch some videotapes or recorded speeches of that language. That is the only way by which we can improve our pronunciation. The third category of barriers in achieving fluency is lack of confidence. This is again basically intrinsically within ourselves. Lack of confidence comes from lack of interest in the first place. After lack of interest, I think we receive only that information which we think it is relevant to us. If it is not relevant, we are not bothered. So, lack of relevance to the speaker. Okay, if you want to learn Italian, then you must be mentally prepared to receive everything in Italian. Okay, which we are not most of the time. And depending upon where it is coming from, the authenticity of the source is also very important. If you are not very sure of the source from where you are getting the resource of spoken language or the tapes, then again there is an apprehension that I don't know whether this is proper Italian dialect or what. So lack of interest, lack of relevance, and prejudices also play a big role in this. If you don't like Italian people, then you may not want to learn Italian language also. Okay, if you like, there is a lot of undercurrents of animosity between the French and the English. It has been there since, 17th century, I guess. The French and English have been always at war with each other. And when English people by default or by fault utter some obscenity, okay, so immediately they will say, oh, oops, excuse my French. So they consider their obscenity equivalent to French. Okay, so itna matlab, this is how they are. There are undercurrents of animosity between them, just like our India and Pakistan. Fortunately, both speak the same languages, but French and English are two poles apart. So if you have prejudices against the native country of that language, then also you will not have motivation to learn that language, and fluency is a very far thing from there. If you want to improve the fluency of English in classroom situation, then I think the entire responsibility lies on the shoulders of the teachers or the educational institutions, because I think the schools and colleges are the places where students spend maximum time of their educational life, educational period, and I think the responsibility is very heavily upon the instructors. Okay, the classroom situation has to be such that the students should have this trust in the classroom, as well as his peers sitting in the classroom, as well as the teacher, that if I make a mistake, nobody is going to laugh at me. That amount of trust has to be developed in the classroom, has to be established in the classroom by the teacher. Okay. Right now, even in just few days back, I was in the classroom and I asked one student, I asked him some question. He started and then he said, Madam, English ma nathi faltu, can I speak in Gujarati? I said, you try at least. I said, no. मैंने कहा जो terms, the words which you are going to speak, those terms are in English. You cannot change those terms. Then remaining in between part of the English also you cannot manage. He said, no, I cannot manage. So he didn't say the answer, and I couldn't give him the marks for his performance in the classroom. Okay, so if teacher has to make one rule right from the day one, that all conversations in this classroom will be done only in English. Now there is a different school which says that if this rule is made, then education cannot be imparted, then teaching learning process cannot be done. If you insist in speaking only one language, which is called monolingualism. Okay, so there are two schools. One school says that monolingualism should be there, and the other school says that use of mother tongue should be allowed in the classroom so that the concept clarity is done. Okay, now we have to find a middle way between these two schools. What I personally prefer is that there should be some days in a week, let us say any one day, in which all conversation can be done only in English. Okay, one activity day should be there in which activities related to their own interest should be given to them, and the students should be made to realize that if you want to pursue this particular field, let us say of interior designing or architecture or whatever, then there are certain terminologies, there are certain jargon words which they have to be speaking in English. Okay, once this thing is, made known to them with a big hammer, okay, I think then probably they will realize this. Yes, if I want to pursue a profession of interior designing, then I should know some sentences which are very peculiar to my field. I should know them how to speak very well, fluently in English. Otherwise, he is not able to establish his reputation in the field, or he is not able to compete in the field, the global competition that is there in his particular field, right? So if that thing is done, then probably the students will have this self-motivation, or probably I would say realization that yes, I have to learn this English language, and only then I can reach a certain level in my profession. Then probably they will at least try to achieve the levels of fluency. And if you are beginning to eradicate or improve upon the barriers of fluency, then I think let us not take ideas, examples from big, thick volumes about this topic. Let us take examples from our daily lives. If you want to learn a new language, what is the first step you will do? Okay, well, I would take a first step is that I would convey my ideas, or divide my ideas into smaller bits and try to convey one bit into English or any that new language. Bit by bit, I will try to convey the idea. Again, that communicative intent. What I'm trying to say is, if I go to the local grocery market and if I want to ask something, that is my one communication. I will break it up into different parts. And if not the entire sentences, 4 or 5 sentences, but one sentence or part of the sentence, I will make sure that I use I talk in a foreign language. Eventually, expand your vocabulary, expand your duration of speaking longer periods of English. This will eventually help you, hopefully. This is what the statistics says. Another technique, very common technique, which all the language scholars always say, is that you must read aloud in front of a mirror or in front of an audience. The best way to learn a new language is to read stories of that language in front of children, because children are the best critics in the world. Okay, native speaker, the children of native speaker of that particular language, like for example Italian, then you go in front of a Italian bunch of kids and read Italian stories to them. Okay, because if I speak Italian in front of a non-Italian speaker, okay, they will not be able to identify my mistakes. They will feel, oh, she's speaking such a good Italian, because all they can hear is some gibbering of Italiano and Pisiano and all this oh kind of things. So non-speakers of Italian will never be able to find out my mistakes, but if I speak Italian in front of native Italian speakers, they will definitely be able to find out my faults, and that is how I will be able to rectify myself and improve upon my speech. So read aloud in front of an audience or in front of a mirror. Do not try to ape the accent in the initial stages. Generally, I remember when I met some passengers on the flight and they had just returned from USA and थोड़ा बहुत English उनको आता था, and which they spoke in that USA accent, which was looking absolutely ridiculous, because वो ना तो गुजराती ठीक से बोल पा रहे थे, ना English ठीक से बोल पा रहे थे, and they were aping that accent of USA. Okay, so don't do that. Accent will come naturally. First, try to get it colloquially correct. Structure part, grammar part also don't bother right now, because the difficulties in the grammatical structure can put you off into learning that new language. It can create another mental block. Itna difficult grammar hai, I don't want to learn that language. So accent and grammatical structure should not be touched at all at the initial stage. Just read, just talk, making as many mistakes as you can, because the more mistakes you make, the more quickly you will learn that new language. Then is read magazines or watch TV shows of that particular language. Repeated practices. In practice makes man perfect, with the cliched saying, but that really works. And basically there should be inner instinct in you, or inner motivation in you, that yes, you have to learn this language, then only that should be there. What should be there? Fluency in any new language. Other barriers are, if you want to take up a course in speaking Italian or French or English, then the courses are very expensive. They are located very far away from the house, they don't fit into our busy schedules, they are time consuming, and we do not know the authenticity of the institutions which impart that kind of short-term crash course of English, learn English in 3 months. Okay, I doubt this can be done. But so we are not sure about the authenticity of them. We are not willing to shell out that much of money. It doesn't fit into our busy schedule also. Another barrier is which is not really a barrier. Yes. Let us talk about India in special. In India, English is a official language. It is not considered a second language in India. It is the first official language of India. All written, political, all documentation is done in English language. So we are always torn between should we speak our native language or should we talk in English. Here the prestige, English speaking, being able to speaking in English is considered as a prestige issue. If you are of a marriageable age and you're looking for a spouse, then you should be knowing English very well. Probably that will attract a large number of spouse. Yeah, and I've met some girls who are getting married into families settled abroad, and they take crash courses of English. I said, how the hell are you going to learn English in 3 months? And who are you going to practice with talking in English in 3 months? Ghar pe to everybody is going to speak your native language. But still they spend, I don't know, thousands of rupees in learning the new language. This kind of idiocracy is not seen anywhere else. I think this is very peculiar to India. Probably because Britishers were in India for more than 200 years or maybe 400 years. And they have this seed of English language into our heads, and that is why probably we are still trying to perfect that unknown mythical destination. Today, if your children are speaking in English medium school, that's okay. But if your children are studying in international school, then some parents have this misconception that if I send my child in an international school, after 12th he can get admission in any international college. So this is the level of, I don't know what I should call it, disillusionment in people in India. We do not run after the practical goals, but we keep this thing very abstract and mythical thing like fluency in English language, and we are just running after them blindly, which we should all avoid as the students of language. I hope this has been a good and informative session with you. Thank you very much for being so quiet.